Okay, so this is the tutorial for posting sending out a newsletter. Now our newsletters are, we have a few different ones that we send out, but the one we're going to be talking about here is the Inside Golf one. Now the first place, I'm just going to do a quick refresher on a few things that are related to this. First of all, if you remember, you get an article, you post it to the back end in the new article file. Then you save that. It goes out and if it has sign off, it has to get sign off. And once it has sign off, then you will copy it to its secondary locations. Now the secondary locations can be places like this on the home page. It's called the home page rotator. So sometimes a secondary location could be there. It can be a number of places, but one of them is is the newsletter that we send out. Now this is what our newsletter that we send out looks like. I'm going to just type here over where all this URL, part of this URL address up here, I'm going to type over, just write a newsletter instead. And when I do that, you'll notice it automatically changes and changes to this URL address with this article ID at the end here, or category ID, I guess, called 1169. And 1169 is the identifies it for the Vancouver Island edition. Now, it automatically, that's the first one it goes to Vancouver Island. But we actually have other versions. And so you can see down here, Lower Mainland, BC Interior, Northern Alberta, Southern Alberta. And the other one that we actually sent out as part of this is called Western Canada. The ones here that are business equipment majors, they're actually different. But so the ones we're dealing with are Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland, BC Interior, Northern Alberta, Southern Alberta, and Western Canada. So if I click on Lower Mainland, you see this ID up the top here changes from 1169 to 1170. And it now says Lower Mainland Edition as opposed to Vancouver Island Edition. Now the thing about it is here, I want to pay attention to look here at it's, we have four sort of sections in our newsletters: top story, from the staff, current news, and chip shots. So with that, if we go back to the Vancouver Island edition, and you notice that the first three articles here from the staff are 2000 Golf Builder Championship, 2013 Golf British Columbia Championship Series, and top 5 Q&As. Well, let's go back to the Vancouver Island version here, and you'll see that they're actually still the same. All the content, or what we call article teasers, in each of the different newsletters is the same. It's the only thing that changes is the Vancouver Island edition, where it says at the top here, and sometimes we could have different ads in here if we chose to. So in the case of this, the content that we send out to all the different sort of target subscribers, Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland, BC Interior, Northern Alberta, Southern Alberta, Western Canada, all get the same newsletter currently. That could change, but it's currently the same. So we go back over to the back end of the website. We can actually look at the articles that are going to appear in this newsletter. So if we go to just like the National is a section on in the back end, so is the newsletter is the section in the back end. Okay, and if we click on that, lo and behold, all the articles that have been copied in this case into the newsletter section show up. We could look at the ones by going down here. These are all the different versions of the newsletters with their different headers. So if you see here, the one we had here was, let's say, the one that was from the staff. On the back end, that's actually called regular what? Sorry, one sec here. Regular columns. Regular columns here on the back. If we click on that, now we're going to see all of the articles in the back end that are in the newsletter section under regular columns. Now you notice over here, it shows under the published, there's 3 published, and one that's not, and all the remainder are actually what are called in archives, because that's what that grayed out X means. But so we've got 3 articles that are published: 2013 Golf Alberta Championship, 2013 Golf British Columbia Championship, and top 5 Q&As, and also this from the Fringe. But it's not published. So if we go back and look at the newsletter and look at the from the staff, which is the same as regular columns. We just changed the name on the front because it sounded better. See, here's the 3 articles, the same ones we saw. Golf Alberta Championship, Golf BC Championship, and top 5 Q&As. So that sort of gives you the sense of where they come from. You can actually do this. I could actually pick published, and that would actually show us only the ones that are published. That got rid of the last one there because it now only shows the ones that are in the published state. So we could actually now go look at, just to finish this off, we could go look at Western Canada and look at, say, top stories, which is right there. And you'll see here that we'll see 3 articles. BC Corey's Renfrew, PGA Tour Exec, and Win a Trip. We go to the front. Corey Renfrew, PGA Exec, Win a Trip. They're all 3 of them are there. Okay? So that sort of gives you the sense of how the articles are put into the newsletter format, this front end look. In this instance, it's just looking like, say, a website. So, there's no difference. We've copied them from one place to another on this website. Well, this is how this website looks like. It looks like this newsletter. Now, the next step that we're going to go to is to actually go over to MailChimp. And I'm going to go into MailChimp from the beginning here. And we're going to log into it. Put in our username and password, and off we go. And up comes this screen here. Now, I'm going to take us through just a couple of steps on this, and then we're going to take our first break. But so the first thing we do when we get to here is there's quite a bit of information about here, a lot of stuff that you can look at, but the one that we care about is actually on the dashboard, and we want to create a regular old campaign. So we click on Create Campaign and release on Regular Old Campaign, and up comes a list of all the different sets of recipients, groups of people that we have that we can send newsletters out to. Now, the one that we care about here is actually the one at the bottom called Inside Golf Newsletter. If we click on that, that's our 2,348 people who get our newsletter. Now, we could send it all to the entire list, but that would cause a problem. We don't do that. The reason we don't do that is we want either people on Vancouver Island to get the one that says Vancouver Island at the top, even though it's not any different. We do make it look different to them with this title. So just to sort of remind you that, so it says Vancouver Island Edition here. So we're going to send that version, the one that says Vancouver Island, we're going to send to the people on Vancouver Island. And we do that by sending it to a segment. Send to segment here as opposed to send to entire list. We click that, and this little pull down comes down here. And we can change to select the people, the group that we want. How you do that is by clicking down on this first window and releasing on group version, being one of Vancouver Island. And that's basically where we get to. And now the next thing we do is we say click and use that segment. Now I'm going to stop here and take a little break, and you can. And then when we come back, I'm going to click on this page now so we see it. And when we come back, we're going to fill in this page. Okay, so that's our first part one of sending out a newsletter, and we'll take a quick break here.